Hello you all. So I started to make a video a couple days ago, but I guess I just kind of forgot. So this is what we're going to talk about today. Flynn's overall health, possibility of discharge, and of course yarn stuff's at the end. Okay, so overall Flynn is doing well. His neutrophils are up. That's one that's supposed to be at 500. Today he's at 490 or yeah, 490. And so they know that he is engrafted. He is making some of his own cells and whatever. The concern or the worry for him right now, health-wise, is when he stands up and he's starting to get ready to go out for a walk. And he sits up in his bed, gets his shoes on, stand up, gets his pole, starts heading toward the door. He kind of goes like this. And then I'm like, hey, what's going on, buddy? And he's like, yeah, my head hurts a little bit. So their concern is that blood pressure or amount of blood, that the blood goes down and whatever. So one, he's going to have to take it slow. Their concern is that when we go home, if we have stairs and he is walking around, obviously dizzy and fall. They're looking at the possibility of giving him a blood transfusion prior to us leaving, just to ensure that he has enough blood, because he doesn't have the right amount in him right now. Okay, so that is a minor health concern, but something to be thinking about, because he's going to have to walk, and as you probably guess, he doesn't like to walk around the hospital and whatnot. His tacro levels, and tacro blah, 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 it's a really long medicine, is what keeps him from having graft versus host disease, and that's where he rejects or Maddie's cells try to kill him. Yeah. And, depending on the day, she can be a feisty cat. No, but anyway, the tacro levels have to be consistent. And right now they're having a hard time switching from liquid, where it was consistently going in him, to getting to pills. And they have to give him just the right amount to make sure that he's consistent. So when they thought we possibly would check out tomorrow, the 19th, at approximately 3 p.m., they have now pushed it to Wednesday, maybe Thursday, because if they were to check us out Wednesday, Thursday we have clinic anyway, and why go home and come back the next day? So it's going to be fine. I'm a little disappointed, but on the other hand, I'm realistic. I don't want to go home and have to come back. I think it would be harder to go home and then have to check back in. So that is kind of what we're thinking overall. Flynn seems to be in good spirits. He was up pretty late working on some Lego kits. And yeah, doing great. He can get up and go to the bathroom by himself. He's been eating and drinking. It's just that initially when he stands up, he is a little tired. I will tell you the one thing I am going to miss about being here in the hospital are these cookies. So there is a company, somebody told me down in the or the kitchen downstairs what it was called, and I forgot. But apparently it's a very great cookie company, and they exclusively give cookies to this hospital, and they are delicious. Yeah, so that's that. Now, what have I been doing for yarn this week? Probably starting, I want to say this weekend. I finished a hat. I've got some mess here. I've got some pretty exciting things I'm going to talk about. I'm not going to lie. So I finished the hat. Again, it's a standard Ross hat. This is with that party confetti big twist yarn that I love so much. I just love it. This is the second one that I made with it. I accidentally gave the other one to Brandon because I was going to have these two hats and give them to our two favorite nurses. Now I just have to make another one. Then, you guys, this is the exciting thing about yarn here, is my favorite mitten pattern right here. It's a Bernat mitten pattern. It's a mitten and scarf, and it's for chunky yarn. Bernat Softy Chunky Mittens and Scarf. I have been making this pattern for years. In fact, there's countless videos. Whenever I make mittens, this is the one I go to. And they do make adult size mittens with chunky yarn. I use Michael's Copenhagen, I think, and I have this really amazing blue and pink one I love. I mean, I go all the way back to the daycare 6 years ago when I first found this, and I literally made mittens for all of my coworkers. So I love that pattern, but I didn't bring any yarn the Softy Chunky, or that yarn that I love so much from Michaels. All I have is worsted weight. So I made the pattern with worsted weight. And this is, I love this yarn. Now, you guys, the thing I'm thrilled about is these are kid sizes. Now, I specifically took notes on how many inches. I did 1.5 inches from here to here, and I'm gonna write this down so I can do it again until I make the thumb gusset, and then how many rows until I start the decrease. And then I can make these perfect kid size mittens. I love this pattern a lot. I'll see about trying to link it. I have tried before, but you have to get it from the Bernat website. And I just love these little mittens because kids are always losing their mittens. The bad thing about them is they do get soaking wet when the kids go to recess. I have thought, because basically you make it opened up and then you sew it along the top and all the way down the side. I have debated on putting like some fleece in there and sewing it. Of course, I won't be able to do that till I get home. I don't have all of my craft room here. I have a lot of it, but I have thought about putting fleece in there. I thought that would really make them a little warmer or less wet when the kids use them. I don't know, maybe not. So I did make one pair of mittens. And then I have my all-time favorite baby sweater pattern. Let's see if I can find Crochet Baby Sweater in 2004 by Beth. This apparently is rare to find on Ravelry, like I said, but I made the baby sweater. This is out of nuts. I saved the ball. This is out of like pink ombre from Big Twist. I want to save this and partner it with a pink and make a hat where I rotate solid variegated. But this is what it looks crocheted up. I, of course, don't have any buttons here. I kind of wish this color change would have happened in the back, but that's okay. This is what it looks like. Jane Wynn had given me Jane from Scraptastic Yarns podcast. Gave me a pattern to knit. Similar style where you start from the top down, you leave a spot open for the sleeves, and then you go all the way down, and then you just put this on. But I'm too scared to start. But I'm going. I mean, I don't know if I'll do it here or not. I did bring with me, because a couple people were mentioning in the comments, and I do read a good part of the comments. I won't lie, you know, once the pattern or once the video's been up for a while, I don't read comments all the time. Anyway, what I did bring to show you guys that I have, if I can dig it out in here, are my knitting needle sets. The first one that I bought, that I loved, and I only bought it, I just made a mess in my yarn bag. I only bought it because there was a knitter that came to our Knitting Buddies group. This is the group that I met when I was at the dentist one day and crocheting in the lobby, and Diane Knitwit, she's like, do you want to go to our crochet club, knit club? And I did. I was very scared, but I'm glad I went. Anyway, one of the gals there was working with these beautiful, oh, look how beautiful they are. They're like peacock, I don't know. They have, Knit Picks has these. They're beautiful. I love them. Interchangeable set. The only thing is that my suggestion is when working with these is you just really warm them up because they come twisted. Some people have talked about boiling them in hot water. I just say take the heat of your own hand, just pull it and straighten it, and look at it, it's already getting better. That's what I suggest to do, and then they get less like that. Now the reason I say that is because these are a little bit more affordable. I don't remember how much they were, but they weren't like, they were enough that I didn't freak out in buying them. I will try my best to find a link to put in the description, but otherwise just go to Knit Picks, just type that into Google, Knit Picks, and these are options, interchangeable needles, Caspian wood set. They have some purplish ones and they have some like rainbowy looking ones. I love these. So that is what I was using for quite a while. I do have an assortment of Knitter's Pride. I have a weird set that I got off of, I don't want to say Wish, maybe what's the word? Amazon for super cheap. And they're actually not terrible. I have used them before, but these are like tubes, like rubber tubes. And again, when you want them to like release their shape, I just take my hand and I sit there and watch whatever video it is, and I just rub my hands up and down the circular part, warm them up, stretch them out. And then the other, so then that's what I was using for the most part, were those knitting needle sets. But then I did buy myself this. I don't know if it was a present, like I had bought it and I said, Brandon, this will be part of my Christmas. But this is my Chai Gu knitting needle set. And they have the red things, okay? I love them. I do love Chai Gu knitting needles. I primarily, I haven't used them too much, but this was highly recommended from one of the ladies in my knitting buddy group and my stepmom. So I do like them, and but I will say I do use those Addi Turbos for my hats. For the longest time, I did not understand that the inches in regards to your circulars included the needle part, the knitting needle part. I just thought it was the actual circular knitting needle part itself. Once I figured that out, it did make things a little easier in regards, but I would get those interchangeable sets out. I'd get them. I could never find the circulars to match the size. And I don't remember what person, someone in the comments had told me that. And I was like, well, that makes so much more sense. So there's that. The last thing is, I still have not fixed this, but a lot of you have given me a great idea of putting in a lifeline below where I made my mistake. And just weaving in that lifeline, pulling it out, putting my knitting needles back in, and fixing it. I haven't done it yet, but I'm probably gonna have to watch a video on how to put a lifeline in, what stitches to pick up. Because again, I'm not a knitting pro, and what I think right now would be the stitch, I just wanna make sure, okay? So I'm gonna have to watch, but that is a very good idea to put in a lifeline, unravel to the lifeline, put it back on my knitting needles. It's only like 3 or 4 rows that I've messed up. Now, normally that would have seemed crazy, but I feel comfortable enough that it's not the whole thing. So I did work crochet, knit. I wanna say when I came back on, I'm trying to figure out what the date was. If today is the 18th, 17th, 16th, 15th, 14th, on Thursday the 14th, that's when I finished the hat, made the baby sweater, did the mittens. Then I started another hat. This is just Big Twist Gray with, I'm gonna put in with, I love this yarn, red stripes. I haven't decided what I was gonna do. But the one thing I did want to say is I had been reading books. Okay, so I did read, and I read this on Saturday. I'm trying to get, On the Way to the Wedding Day. These Bridgerton books are very quick and easy to read. They take there's no real tricky words, not a lot of content. So I read this on Saturday, right? Because today's Monday. And I just sat here on this little couch thing over here and just read straight through it. By the end of the day, I had finished it, and then I started this book, The Lady's Mind. And by Saturday night, I was on chapter 3. I was just tired. And then yesterday, Sunday, I read all of this book. This book is really good. This is by Francine Rivers. Now, this is what I'm going to say. Number one, I like it because it is historical. I like reading things that are from the past. Number two, it is a bit of a romance. She is a gal who is booted out of her family's home because she lives with her stepdad and her mom, and her stepdad's a jerk. And she has to go to the Wild West in California, and she has to make her life out there. And she meets this guy, and she's this beautiful Boston lady. All the guys want her. All the guys are like, will you marry me? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, but there's a romance in here. Now, the thing that I like about this romance is this is just a good, clean story. It's just a story about a gal. She's got some problems. Her dad died. Her mom is with this guy that she had to marry. You know, it's just a good story. And then there's love, you know. But there's not like all the smut in it. because I like reading a story about somebody falling in love and starting their life together. And I loved it. I really did. I couldn't put it down. There's some crazy parts in there. You're like, whoa, I never expected that. So I do recommend The Lady's Mind by Francine Rivers. It's historical fiction. There's a little bit of romance, and it's minor. I mean, they just hug and kiss, and they're excited to see each other. Okay, so check this book out. I could put a link in the description for it. But that is all the books that I have here now that I've read. I don't have any more books here that I have that I haven't read yet. So now I'm gonna be stuck knitting and crocheting. Oh wait, I tell a lie. I did buy this one, Now or Never by Emily Conrad. This is a novella, which I did not know what that meant, a novella, but it's basically just a short story. I talked about the books that this is a novella based off of a main set of books. I've talked about them a long time ago by Emily Conrad. And that is, that book series follows, I can't remember if it's 3 or 4 guys in a band, and they're based out of Wisconsin. And the guy that's in this book, this novella, is their manager. Now, he does not get his own book. Just the guys from the band actually got each of their own books. So I started reading this, and I don't know if I was tired, but I couldn't get really past chapter 1 or 2. So I'll try it again. I did read one of her other books while I was here, and I read it in a day, and that's called Bidding on a Second Chance. I could put a link in the description to that book as well. Bidding on a Second Chance is another, I want to say, a romance without all the smut, but it's not historical fiction. And it's part of a series, like a bunch of authors wrote books about people in the same town. So I don't know if they just had a bunch of characters and they're like, oh, I wrote this book. And so it's a bunch of authors that wrote about this one area and all these people, but they each wrote their own story. And Emily Conrad got to write, and the one that she wrote was Bidding on a Second Chance. I've now probably read 4 or 5, maybe 5 or 6 of her books, and I do like them. They're nice, easygoing reads. Sometimes you want to read to learn something, sometimes you want to read to grow, but other times you just want to read to have fun. And that's what you'll get with this gal. Okay, you guys, that was embarrassing. I'm in here chatting away to y'all, and the nurse came in. Whew. Usually they knock, and she just walked right in. So, I mean, it is what it is, right? Okay, so I think that's all of the recreational things that I can tell you about. I'll try to put links in the description to all those things, the books and the knitting needles, but the knit picks one, I might just have to put a link to the knit picks, and you'll have to find it yourself. And again, thanks for all your prayers and your thoughts and good wishes for Flynn. The end is near. That's what I'm feeling like. The end is near. And I want to make sure everything's great before we go home so that we could just come down here 2 days a week for clinic, and that's it. Okay, everyone, thanks for watching and subscribing. Thanks for liking and sharing my videos. And until the next one, happy crafting or bye.